Hello and welcome to the channel. And for today's video, we are going to talk about San Diego Comic-Con 2023 and the pickups that I had, and some talk about a little bit of the show itself. So Comic-Con today is Sunday, the 23rd, I believe. Yeah, so today is the last day of Comic-Con. I am not attending. I went Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and that is more than enough. Honestly, I would have gone. The only reason I would have gone today if I wouldn't have gotten a few items at the show, but as it turns out, I pretty much got most of the things that I had planned. Excuse me. But yeah, walking around the show for however hours on end, and it does get exhausting on you for over the course of the 3 or 4 days wherever you go. I couldn't go on Wednesday, preview night, so I just went Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So where should I start? I guess I'll just start with comic books. So I had an idea. I had a few books with me that I was hoping to get signed. The ones I didn't get signed were ones that I had for Catwoman, the 90 from the 90s series that was drawn by Jim Ballant. He didn't go to the show this year, which is surprising. He usually always goes to Comic-Con. I don't remember if I saw him last year. But for one reason or another, I just never had any of those books signed by him. So this year I was hoping to get at least a couple of issues signed, because now most artists are starting to charge. Usually you can get the one book signed for free, but then they're charging for anywhere from $5 to $10 per book. And something that I started to notice is for some of the bigger artists, they would charge you even more if it were for some key issues, like first appearances of certain characters and or their first books from certain runs and whatnot. So because they understand that people will go online and sell them, so they're trying to make money off of those those resellers. So this is a way to circumvent that feeling of you're being just used for your autograph and then making money off of you. So this is their way of making money off of those people, which is smart. But it's kind of a bummer for the casual fan who just wants a few books signed. But it's understandable. So one of the first guys that I visited and got 2 books signed, because the limit was 3, but I only had 2. I only had 2 with me, was Terry Dodson. So I got this book from his Spider-Man run from the early 2000s, I believe. I don't recall exactly when this book came out, but excuse me. But yeah, so I got the first issue and the second issue signed. Usually he always goes with his wife, Rachel, who's his inker. But she didn't make the show. I asked about her because obviously I did also want her autograph on the book. But he said that she had to stay back for some, take care of some family issues. So so I only got the book. I also have one. Years ago, I bought one of his sketchbooks and one of his. I forget the series that he puts out. I believe it was put out through Image, like some Russian superhero spy, something like that. I forget the name. Red something. But I also got that a few years ago, so it's not the first time I've got some books signed by Terry Dodson. But I never had. I wish I would have taken at least. I completely forgot. He did I may have the Wonder Woman series that he did again around this time. I may have one of those books signed as well. So, but I knew I didn't have this Spider-Man series, any of these issues signed by him. So I just wanted to take that. Then I had taken a few issues of Wetworks with me, because I also wanted some more, a couple of autographs from Will Spertasio. But he was charging for every book that you sign, so I didn't, want to spend a lot of money. So this book I already had signed by Will Sears in years ago. I don't know, it's in the 90s still. Um, Maybe a year or so after the series came out, but I never got it signed by Scott Williams. So Scott Williams was there, and he was, not charging for autographs for the first few issues, that you would get signed. So that was cool. So he signed it, right there across. He was figuring out he's got a tons of colored markers. So he was like, "Oh, what color? What color? What color?" And it was like, well, he says it's wet work, so might as well go with gold. But I believe that's like the copper color. I believe that's not gold. But anyway, um, so yeah, I got this book signed by Scott Williams. Great dude and everything. Spoke to him just a little bit there while I was there. And then another book that I have, and that I got signed, and just by pure accident, but I was hoping to get a shot at him. Let me just pull this out, avoid the glare. Is Marc Silvestri. I honestly don't know if I have books signed by Silvestri. I may have. I'm pretty sure I do, but I don't recall what. It may be an issue or two of Cyberforce or The Darkness. I honestly don't remember. But I wanted to have him sign this, his Batman miniseries that he put out recently. So I got the first issue signed by Marc. I was just walking by the Top Cow booth, and I turned a corner, and I saw that he was, at the booth. He wasn't necessarily signing. He was just, doing some sketches, and there were like 2 or 3 people, around at the booth. So I don't know if I thought, oh, maybe I missed an official signing, because they were all signing. All of the artists, would put out their schedule for the day. So I thought, oh man, I think I may have missed him. But no, he was cool enough. There were like 2 people there, 3 people waiting in front of me. I just asked, hey, is there a limit? He said, first one is free unless, you brought certain issues. And okay, that's fine. So I got this book signed by Marc Silvestri. Again, chatted him up a little bit, asked him about his health, because recently he, a few years ago, he was, had a bit of a health scare. So I just wanted to let him know, hey, hope you're doing well and all of that. So he appreciated that and said thank you and all of that. So he was cool. So yeah, so this is Marc Silvestri. And then one of the guys that I quote unquote hung out with at the con, because he was very graceful with his time, and always is, and I like hanging around with him at the con because it's great conversation and great insight into his his works, and also talking about the craft and everything. Is Richard Friend. He was known as one of the inkers over at Wildstorm, but he has recently started to do his own project, Blaster Kid, and but he was known as being one of the primary inkers for Wildcats when Travis Charest was doing the art. So but he has recently transitioned to become, a full artist by himself. And so yeah, I spent all, the 3 days that I went. I spent some time with him, talking him up and all of that. Looking at his artwork and everything. And I had this book that I got at a con a few years ago, the Wallstorm 25th anniversary special. And when I gave him to sign this, because I didn't actually bring any of his actual books with me, even though I knew he was going to be there, but uh, you know, in a mad dash, this is the first thing that I saw, and I knew that he was featured in. So when I handed him the book, and I said, "Hey, can you just sign here on your profile?" He was laughing because he saw the picture that's here at the top. He had never seen this book, or maybe he forgot, what picture he may have submitted, or but he was having a good time looking at that picture. Uh, so he said he hadn't seen that in a while. But yeah, Richard Friend is also a pretty cool guy, so he signed it right here at the bottom, on the bottom right. Um, so yeah, very cool artist. He also has a YouTube channel up where he posts, almost daily content. He almost always posts on Sundays. Um, Him and his collaborator, Chelsea, I forget what is Kelsey. I'm sorry, not Chelsea. Kelsey, whatever the guy is, I forget his last name. Um, but anyway, that's Richard Friend. I also, around the same across the same aisle, was Ron Lim. I didn't have anything for Ron to sign. I already have a few books of his to sign, but I was talking to him yesterday, and I just mentioned to him, "Hey, do you still have any of those Infinity Gauntlet pages? Because obviously, with the uh, with the explosion of the MCU, excuse me, he would have made a killing selling those original pages of those books that he drew, uh, which were issues 4, 5, and 6, because the first three were drawn by George Perez. Um, and he said, no, I said, obviously at the time, because he sold those years and years and years ago, before even the movies came out and before even the MCU was a thing. And he said, yeah, I mean, I could have sold those pages right now, and, could have bought myself a small mansion, which was funny. But yeah, what could have, you never just know, right? Again, some of those early, when you hear stories from Todd, from Jim Lee, and all of those guys who were selling their original artwork in the early '90s for, 500 bucks, $300, and those pages right now are selling for tens of thousands of dollars, right? So they're making a lot of other people rich right now. And speaking of McFarlane, um, I was able to score a slot for his signing yesterday evening. So I was able to score an autograph for my Spawn #1. So this is my second McFarlane autograph. The first one, give me just 1 second. So the first time that I actually came across McFarlane at for an autograph was a few years ago. I was just walking past the image booth, and he was there. He was standing in front of his. I think he had a display. I think it was the McFarlane Toys display, and they had a huge Walking Dead display there, and a big diorama. And he was there, just standing around. He was surrounded by a few people, and he was signing autographs for the people, And I just happened to walk by, and I said, "Hey, Todd, what's going on?" He said, "Hey, how you doing, buddy?" "Hey, buddy, I don't know, I can't do a McFarlane." And I said, "Hey, can you sign something for me?" He said, "Sure." So I happen to have this with me, the Hunt number one. Well, not the Hunt number one. It's a paperback, the first volume. Then you can see he signed that as well. So now I got two McFarlane autographs. But this was obviously this is the big one. I had a few choices to make. It was either this. I could have had the Spawn Batman crossover signed. The first one that was written by Frank Miller, not the recent one. I had issues 200 of Spawn, 300, and 301. So I was like, which ones would be better for him to sign? And obviously, I just went. I didn't. Stupidly enough, I didn't take anything Spider-Man related, which is fine. But I said, no, I think Spawn is the obvious choice. So I chased his autograph for most of the show, for all the 3 days that I went to the show. So you had to be there fast in the morning as soon as the doors open. And the only reason I was able to score a shot at getting, because they would hand out bracelets. The only reason I was able to score a position is because I have professional credentials. So I was able to get into the show earlier than the normal attendees, which, sucks if you're a normal fan who want to get an autograph by McFarlane. And because by the time they let the regular attendees in, there's no shot. Everything, because the day before on Friday, I got there late and I had to get in. They wouldn't let me in, so I had to go in with the normal the normal people, with the regular attendees. And by the time I got to the McFarlane booth, it was they had all sold out. They had finished giving away all of the bracelets, so I was finally able to score this on Saturday, and that was the last signing McFarlane had. He wasn't gonna do anything today, so that was the last shot. So I was finally able to score it. So thank you, Todd. I couldn't get a selfie with him because they weren't allowed for some reason, even though there were a few people that did take pictures with them. But I just took pictures from just before I got to him in the line, while I was in the line. So, but that's fine. I was mostly there for the autograph and just thank him personally. Now, as far as toys, I did get a big score. I was only interested in the McFarlane's con exclusives. But one that I did get while I was, just walking around the aisles to the different spots was the Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows 2-pack. So I got it at a pretty good price. I was actually walking by, and I got this at the TF Source booth, and they had it for $65, which I thought was, I don't know what was the retail price, 50, 55, something like that. I don't know. So it didn't seem too expensive. A little over $30 for each figure. That's fine. Because I actually do think the Spinneret is cool. Obviously, I wouldn't have gotten her on her own, but it's a nice bonus. Obviously, the feature, the big feature here is the Spider-Man figure. And speaking of which, so here they are. I already took them out just to make sure I did get them. I already switched the head on the Mary Jane. So yeah, obviously this is I think most people regard this version of the Spider-Man figure, Marvel Legends, as the best available Spider-Man right now, which I think uses the same body as the Amazing Fantasy, I believe. I believe so. Because I think the other one does have also the toe articulation. All that. This has the drop down hips. So So yeah, because I don't think it's the same as the retro from the animated from the cartoon. Um, so yeah, so I was able to score that. Just walking the aisles. I believe I got this on Friday. Yeah, on Friday. Um, and then before I get to, no, actually I will get to. So McFarlane, the I was stalking the booth, the DC booth. That's where they were held at, McFarlane, the exclusives. Um, so I get there right as I was able to get in on the floor. Um, Actually, no, I was hanging out the pro lounge, and then some guy walked up to me, and we started chatting. And the guy, hey, he was a cool guy and everything, but the guy was a talker, and he just went when the floor opened at 9:30. The guy was still chatting up, and we were having a nice conversation and all that, and I didn't want to seem rude or anything. But by the time that it was, 10 to 10, I said, "Hey, sorry, man. I got a bolt. I gotta meet with some people and all that." And I said, "Yeah, sure, sure, okay." But I really wanted to get down to the McFarlane, the DC booth to get a shot at the exclusives. So when I get down there, the line is already closed, right? So people kept asking and this and that and the other, blah 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 blah. There was like they said that there was a line to get in line for the line, and then they said no, you can't hang around, this and that and the other. So they say this was at around 10, right? They say, hey, come back at around 11, maybe the line will reopen. I get back at 11. No, line is still closed. They say try again at 12. So I go back and I get back at 12. Go back at 12. Hey, is the shop still open? No. They're gonna close up the line because there was oddly enough a McFarlane and Jim Lee signing, which I also wanted to attend, but they gave those bracelets out again early around when they opened. So again, I missed out on that. That was the first time I missed out on a McFarlane autograph. I also wanted some Jim Lee stuff signed. I completely missed Jim Lee, so I didn't get anything signed by him. So anyway, long story short, at 12 they said come back at 2. So I attend some panels, make up some time, and then I go back to the DC shop booth at 1:45. And when I get there, there's already a line, and they're already capping the line. And I was like, I thought you said you were gonna open at 2. Anyway, they did let me in the line. They were still letting people in the line. It was just a sign that said last in line, so they hadn't capped that off yet, or end of line. I forget what the sign says. But anyway, I was able to get in line for the shop, and always asking for updates like, is anything sold out, is anything sold out, every time that I would go back to the booth, each time they told me to come back, I would ask, is anything sold out, is anything sold out? No, nothing yet. Okay, cool. Because primarily the one thing that I wanted was one particular figure, which I'll show you at the end. But anyway, while they give you a paper with all of the exclusives, and I was looking over what I wanted, and so one of the figures that I didn't plan on getting, but while I was there and figuring out stuff, how things would play out, I said, screw it. So one of the first figures that I got as an exclusive, although it's not an exclusive, it was not a Comic-Con exclusive, I believe, because this is just I believe it's gonna be available at the McFarlane shop anyway. So this is the gold label Joker bank robber, right? Because he's got the mask from the opening scene of the Dark Knight, but obviously we have an alternate head. So again, I don't believe this was a con exclusive, but it was available there, right? So $30, not too bad, in my opinion. So I got this because I never got the Build a Figure wave for the Dark Knight. I could never find it in stores, so I'm still, well, I'll get to that in just one second. So I got this guy, and then I got this guy, the Bane with the coat. So this is basically the same as the Build a Figure, right? That was available if you would buy each of the figures in the wave separately. You would put together Bane. So I got this guy. Again, I don't believe he was a show exclusive. He was just available there. Again, $30. Um, so again, like I said, I missed out on the wave at retail, and so I was really only interested in either having the Bale Batman, the Joker, uh, primarily, right, from that wave. But obviously, I was gonna pick up all of the figures in the wave to be able to build the Bane. So in some way, I saved some money by not buying figures that I didn't really want. I mean, the Harvey Dent is pretty cool, but maybe if I see it available on discount or whatever, maybe in the future I'll get it. But primarily, that was the figures that I really wanted, right? The Joker, the Bane, Build a Figure, and the Christian Bale Batman. Uh, the Christian Bale Batman, I will get, not now. He will be made available along with the '89 Batman, as well as the Val Kilmer Batman, the George Clooney Batman, the Pattinson Batman, and the who am I missing? The Ben Affleck Batman. So the 6-pack was announced for pre-order, and I made my pre-order for that on my way over to the con on Friday while I was in the trolley making my way. I saw the announcement and I was like, it's gonna sell out, and it eventually it's I think it's sold out in most places. From what I checked, Amazon is sold out, or it may be available on Amazon. I'm not remember, but it was definitely sold out at BBTS where I put in my pre-order. Entertainment Earth, it was sold out, so it may be sold out in some places. So I'll be getting the '89 Batman, even though I was shut out of the 2-pack with the Batmobile. At least I'll be getting the Keaton, the '89 Batman, on his own, sort of, along with a few friends, which is cool. If you saw the pictures online of the set, it looks really cool because they each come with their own custom bat signal, so that's cool. But the one that I really, really wanted at the show was the Knightfall 30th anniversary. So this was, no, again, I don't think this is an exclusive to the show. I believe this might be available, or maybe it is. I don't recall. I'll have to check. I don't really remember if it was a con exclusive or not. This is the back. So I had the regular figure on pre-order, um, that I could, but I had it on pre-order on Amazon, but it was taking forever to ship. Luckily enough, after the show, I went to a Target and I found them. Right. So this is the regular version, and what we're gonna do right now is I'm gonna run out of time here, so I'm just gonna pause here for just 1 second so I can reset the counter on this thing. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna unbox, quote unquote. We're gonna open this guy up right here and see what is on the inside. Hopefully I don't have the regular version in the box, right? So let's carefully open this plastic, tear it off. Let's get this out of the way. And I believe this is a slip cover. Yes. Okay, so let me just lower the camera just to the center just a little bit. Okay, so here we go. Let's see. So you can already see that it has a custom stand. This is the normal box. Right. So this is the standard box for the Knightfall figure. You can see the trading card in the back. There's the stand in the back. So you can see he comes with 2 extra hands and a batarang with the same, and a different image here in the back. So this is from the first issue of the Knightfall run. And I believe this is Batman 492. And the one in the back is for issue 487, which is the one where Batman's back is broken by Bane. Okay, so you already see here we have the extra fists and the batarang. You see a stand for the trading card. And then here's the figure. Is it in shot? So there we go. So the difference between this and the regular version, which we'll put here, is obviously there's a difference in coloring. So the blues are a little darker, and the gray on the suit is a little darker. I'll take them out and do a side-by-side comparison in just 1 second. But yeah, obviously, and then there's some extra coloring. They've colored in some black spots and areas for the suit to make it look a little more comic booky, I guess, right? So give me just 1 second. I'm gonna pause because I don't know. No, it doesn't look like he's attached. I thought maybe he would have some ties, but it doesn't look like. So maybe he should come out of this plastic clamshell here without too much difficulty. Let's see. So I guess it does come out. Okay. We'll check out the accessories in just 1 second. Well, let's pull out the figure here. Just put it there. And then this guy here. Oop. So you can see right there the difference in colors. But the one on the special edition actually is actually a more accurate depiction of the suit, or how they were coloring the suit in the 90s. Just for comparison, I'm gonna bring in some other Batman figures just to get an idea of what I think they were going for. Well, not necessarily going for, but you know, just to separate different eras. So this is the DC Universe Classics Batman with a McFarlane head. If you saw my video long ago, one of those first videos that I posted on the channel, you know, this is a McFarlane head. But you can see the coloring on the gray of this suit is a little darker, and the blue is a little lighter than all three combined. Right, all the other two behind. I'm sorry. It's a little more powder blue, which is more of a this is more like the 70s colors, the 60s and the 70s, like the era of Neil Adams, right? And then around the 80s, they switched over to a slightly more darker blue, right? Which would then be represented by, let's see. There goes a bunch of figures. So then we have this. This is my other Batman that you saw that video as well from a few years ago, last year, I forget when I posted this. So this is the DC Essentials Batman from the Knightfall line as well. So these two are supposed to be the same, representing the same figure, or actually all three are supposed to be the same figure. Again, that head is the one that goes on this body. Okay. But that's the DC Essentials Knightfall Batman, and you can see the coloring is also still very different from the both of the McFarlane figures. The yellows on the McFarlane are a little more lemony, you could say, while the blue on the Essentials is more mustard colored, right? So there's this guy, same as this one. The yellows are, all the yellows are different. Although the yellow on the symbol is almost the same as on the McFarlane. This one is the same yellow as on his belt, so which is a little more mustard colored. And then let's bring in, this will be interesting. So this is the first McFarlane Batman, the alternate variant. I'm sorry, the Detective 1000 Batman. This one has the head from the Essentials, right? So this is for those who saw that video, remember this was my attempt version at a year 2 Batman. So because it's a little more resemblance of how McFarlane drew him back then, except he doesn't have super long ears. But the colors on this are almost a match for the DC classics. The grays are almost the same. The blues are almost the same, right? So these two figures are almost representing the same thing. I actually really like this figure. Most people hate it. Well, after a few changes, the only thing I don't like is how the abdomen looks a little too small. So, excuse me. I'm trying to see what kind of abdomen I can fit in there, just to have it fill out that gapping on the sides. But yeah, this figure is pretty cool in my opinion. Still, I like how he has the bigger symbol on the chest. That's why. This is pretty much how McFarlane drew his in the day, as compared to the smaller, more modern take, right? And just for fun, let's compare him to the most recent McFarlane Batman release, which has become one of the more popular types that he's released, is the Hush. So the Hush Batman, those colors are way vastly different than all of the other two. That gray color with that blue would have fit well, but you can see that it's a completely different body type. The Jim D style sculpting on his body, and he's also a taller figure, right? While this is a little more leaner, sculpting on the musculature and everything, which is why I liked this version as well, because it represented that era of Batman. While he had a slimmer body, um, a little more athletic looking instead of less bodybuilder-ish body, right? Looks like he's got a broken wrist. So yeah, just all the different types of Batmans here. This was probably, I mean, it's gonna be a tie between these guys as the best Batman figure that I have, right? So the special edition, again, the only the aside from the changing colors is the shading across the mask, right, that they gave him. I believe around the neck, yes. Get this so I can focus better. So around the neck, and then in the trunks. What I noticed is that that's all they put. They didn't put anything in the back. They didn't put anything in the back of the head, right? Or even on the cape. Just on the mask on the front, and that's it. Not even on the boots. So what I had in mind for this guy was kind of something like this, but more closely resembling what I did on this guy, which is just add the shading at around in the bridge in the cheek area, the bridge of the nose and the cheeks, below and around the eyes, not on top of the mask like on this. So that's what I had in mind for this guy, and which is why I had ordered two. I had two on pre-order of this one. But like I said, I found this guy at Target, and so when I was at when I was there at the show, I got two, right? So I got two of the 30th anniversary, and then have the one of the standard edition. Because what I had in mind, it would probably take two different customs, excuse me. So for me, $30 each. It's not so much like, and again, I'm not planning on reselling any of these figures, so the eventual resale price of these guys doesn't really matter to me, because I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do on these figures. So I'm gonna customize them to fit my needs. So it doesn't matter, what I do to these guys. If I decide to drop if I want to keep this guy in the with the shading, or if I decide to remove the shading, which is probably what I'm gonna do, which is why I got two, is to remove the shading, the black shading, and keep one in the colors like this, right? The only thing that I would probably just keep is the shading on the mask, like I showed you with the other guy. So again, to me, and again, these figures weren't priced extraordinarily high, much like the let's say the from last year, the 2-pack from Mattel, the He-Man and the Skeletor. That was an expensive set, but I think those figures came out nice as they were. So that's why when I was trying to think of what type of customizing I would do on those, I said I might as well just do it on the retail version, which is why I got two copies of the He-Man, right, of the 40th anniversary He-Man. And most people were hoping for this year, Mattel would announce the availability of a 40th anniversary Skeletor, which didn't happen. So that's a bummer. So we still don't have that 40th anniversary Skeletor as a single figure release. Maybe in the future. But while we're talking Motu, if you saw the announcement, hopefully you've seen the announcement that they're going to release in the Origins line. For the Origins line, they're going to release the cartoon series or collection. I forget what they were going to call it, the cartoon collection. So they're going to release Origins figures, Origin type figures with the Filmation look. So that is awesome. And so they're going to release that line in conjunction with the regular vintage line. Oh, I'm sorry, not the vintage, the regular Origins line, which they are rebranding as Vintage Origins. So I guess they're starting over again. I didn't attend the panel. I was just looking at the video from Pixel Dan, but the audio on his his recording a little hard to hear at times, so I didn't catch everything. But I believe they're going to restart the Origins line and releasing, or I don't know, something like that. But for some reason they re-announced the He-Man and Skeletors, so I don't know if they're starting over or whatnot. But anyway, the big news though was the announcement of the cartoon line. So that I'm all in on that one for sure, as well as new releases for the Masterverse line as well, especially the new Eternia line of figures. Those look awesome. They've got Snout Spout coming out, which looks freaking amazing. At first, for Origins, I mean the figure looked a little goofy with the huge Dumbo ears and head and whatnot. But for the Masterverse line, that looks amazing. So they're gonna release that. They're gonna release a new Eternia Triclops, a new Eternia Man at Arms, and a new Eternia Trapjaw as well, I think. So all of those guys look amazing. They're also releasing for the Revolutions line the new Skeletor, or what they're calling Skeletech, because if you haven't seen the figure, or if you remember the ending of the Revolution series, where he got infected, so to speak, by Motherboard, and also Motherboard was released as an exclusive. So it's still available, I believe, online at Mattel. I haven't bought the figure. Maybe down the line, if it's still available 2, 3, 4 months from now, I'll probably look into getting it, because it's a big figure. It's 12 inches. The wingspan is almost 2 feet long. It's an amazing figure. I just was not ready to pick her up this year, right now, at this time. But the mother figure is a pretty awesome figure. They're releasing that, and they're releasing the Sorceress, Tila Sorceress. They're also releasing from the movie Evil Lyn. So that's cool. But I'm still hoping to get a release of the vintage style or the classic looking Evil Lyn for that vintage, for the Revolution or Revelation line, that Evil Lyn from the first incarnation that's inspired by the classic Evil Lyn. We still don't have that. So we've got all the incarnations of Evil Lyn so far, but not that one. And that's it. I mean, and also big news. If you didn't see it, I'm not a huge Marvel Legends collector. I only have a handful of figures. As I mentioned before, I only collect like the Spider-Man figures. But I'm a huge X-Men fan, right? So for the X-Men, what they're doing is, in case you didn't know, they are putting out a continuation of the 90s X-Men animated series, right? So it's called X-Men 97. And originally, or not originally, but right now they had made available like I forget what's the line is called, or the company that would put out like their smaller versions of the figures for almost like you know how DC has McFarlane for the collector stuff, and then Spin Master for their more kid friendly type lines. So Marvel has something similar. So they released their has Hasbro for the Marvel Legends, and then another company to release the more kid friendly stuff. So they had released figures for the X-Men 97 line, which were 4 inches, I believe, and they looked cool. But at the show, they announced and had present the Marvel Legends line for the X-Men 97 series of figures. And they had Rogue, Gambit, Bishop, Wolverine, and Magneto on display. And all of those figures look amazing. I am all in on that as a fan of X-Men. The only reason I was not collecting those X-Men figures for Marvel Legends right now is because one, you know, of how extensive the line is, and second, most of those figures have already been released or hard to find, and chasing those down would cost them an arm and a leg. So they're putting out new figures, right? That's gonna be available in retail. They look amazing. Probably even better than the VHS exclusives from Pulse, right? That are running in conjunction, right, with Marvel Legends right now. So the X-Men 97 line looks great. All modern articulation, new bodies, and all of that. So, well, some reuse, obviously. But you get what I'm saying. They're using new sculpts and all of that for. They're using the new female body. The Rogue look amazing. So yeah, I'm all in on that line. So that was the other big news that interested me. The new Marvel Legends line of X-Men for the X-Men 97 cartoon. So anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you watched all the way through. If not, that's cool. Just give me a thumbs up if you liked the content. I've got some videos planned to record. I've already got some what I want to talk about. A couple of customs. Well, actually a trio of customs. And some new other stuff that came in before Comic-Con, like a week or so. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that. Let me know what you guys think at the bottom in the comments. And yeah, so thank you for watching. Till the next one. Actually, before going, I never actually showed you the accessories for this guy, as I was talking about the other stuff at the show. This is just something that I did want to show. This display for the training card. Right, I mean, this is the regular stand. These are the regular fists and whatnot. But this is cool. Something cool you can use as a display for something. It's a little hollow on the back, but you can see here the certificate of authenticity, right, for the Knightfall 30th anniversary figure. There you go. This is not obviously not a real. That's just a printed autograph by McFarlane, right? But this is cool because you can slide the card. You can use this display to slide in any card you want. You know, it doesn't have to be necessarily for. Well, I mean, it does say DC, but you know, you can use whatever you want. So there you go. Okay, now this is the end of the video. Thank you for watching.